Hi YouTube.
Oh,
Today we're going to be talking about a very special deck profile. So if you want to introduce yourself and tell us what you did this weekend.
so I'm Michael Barrett and I played Superheavy Samurais at Irish Nationals and I came 12th after Swiss.
12th after Swiss. Crazy. How was your weekend?
It was great. It was a super great nats. All my opponents were super lovely, super friendly. Had a great time. I was so happy to do so well at a big event in like a biggest Irish Nationals.
Biggest Irish Nationals. 206 players. Largest. That's insane. So you're happy with how the deck played?
Deck is insane. If it's not the best deck, Cashier might be a little bit better after the ban list. If Cashier gets hit, 100% could be the best deck.
Gonna be the best deck. Okay, let's get right into it then.
So I played 3 Kaushi, 3 Wagon, 3 Soul Piercer, 3 Bike, and 2 Big Benkai. That's just the standard ratios for those. Then for my 1-ofs, I played the 1 Box, 1 Tunneler, 1 Regulus, Peacemaker, Scales, and Soul Gaia Booster. Now I chose to play the Stealthy. I know some people started to cut it, but it works good in the combo that I went for, and I even was able to steal a branded player's branded High Spirits from their graveyard when they tried to add it back in the end phase. So it does come up, especially with the Wakaushi effect to summon from deck, where you get locked, then you can still search out Stealthy and special it as a pseudo disruption. In some decks it comes up. My non-engine was the 1 Jizukuru, since you can search it, the 1 Driver with the triple Gamma, 3 Veiler, 3 Ash, 3 Mourner, 3 Droll, and 2 Nib. Now I probably would have preferred to play Kaijus in the main over Nib. I don't feel like Nib's that great this format. Looking at the tournament, the way people were playing, Kashtira players don't tend to play into Nib. It's decent against a super heavy, but I chose not to play Ogre, so maybe playing Ogre if I was worried about super heavy, or playing Kaiju if I was worried about Kashtira. Then my extra deck is the Excel and Brone, the Saratobi, and the Savage. My end board was with the Savage, so that's why I'm running it. I know some people don't play it, but I really liked it, and it really helps, especially equipping to be a high attack monster that can sometimes struggle to swing over high attack monsters. Even like when you give your opponent Jizukuru, the Brone can't swing over it. It can sometimes come up. Played the 2 Link ones, the Asa for taking your opponent's Fenrir. It's also one of the only generic links, so you can link off the, if you get nibbed, you can link off the Nibiru token. If you get given Ibli, it's an out to Ibli, so it's pretty nice. It came up a lot actually. And the Genius, standard, the Apo, because that's my end board. I'm not playing Saryuja for the spell canceller. I'm not playing it for just the draw into hand traps. I just preferred this end board. I felt like it was strong enough. I played the Ballista over Gear Gigant. Now, I think there's a lot of arguments to play Gear Gigant, but personally, I really enjoyed Ballista because it was the strongest end board in my opinion, and it comes up with just the Stealthy being a level 1, so you can make Ballista. The Ballista popping a spell or trap to reduce a monster to 0 does come up sometimes, so I really liked it. I'll look into it more with more testing. I might change my mind, but I was very happy. I was never disappointed, never wanted Gear Gigant. And I don't think that being able to search a generic card really ever comes up often. Most of the time you have follow-up anyways, so I just like the Ballista as just linked to, and then you can just link it into Apo sometimes even. Then for the Xyz, I played Goosekev, pretty standard. Played the Merrymaker, Sargas, and the Zeus. This package is insane. A lot of people might even get to the point where they have to cut it to fit in some of the other cards. Can't cut this, just too good. Going Merrymaker, Sargas, Search Therian, Swing, make Zeus, just wins you so many games. And the kind of, I would say somewhat spicy, the only person I saw playing this card was Pack in his deck profile. It's the Exciton. This card's super strong, really helps against Kashtira. Just really nice to have a blowout. A lot of times your opponent will let you get to 2 level 4s and they won't disrupt you. Just make Exciton, clear their field. Super, super strong. Then for the side deck, I played one Pank, and 3 Kaijus. These were kind of for going second against Kashtira because they can clear a Rise Hard. Pank helps with dealing with floodgates. It's nice that it's a body, so you can just, if you open all hand traps and Pank, you can just special it, swing, just try to sit on Pank. Really like Pank, wish it was at 3, would probably play it at 3. It's the only back row removal that I really think is worth playing in this deck. Don't really like any of their other options people were going for. I played the 3 Ogre. This was, I didn't feel like it was worth main decking, and I'm happy I didn't. I never came up against a matchup where I would have really wanted to side in Ogre. I think I sided once against Sprite, but never played against Superheavy, never played against Purely, so happy I didn't main deck it. Had it there in case if I did. It is good against those matchups, but I was scared of Kashtira, and I thought, why main deck a card that's basically dead versus that deck? Then I played the Bestial package, 2 Magnamut, 2 Druis Worm. This came up a lot. It's super good against Branded. It's insane, basically an FTK versus Mathmech. Been playing Mathmech for ages before this deck, and Bestials just make that deck terrible to play. Any format where you can play Bestials, Mathmech just kind of feels like a joke to me personally. It's really sad. I do love the deck, but they just are so powerful. And it's now to Rainbow 5 Magician if they send it off Branded Fusion. That actually did come up. One of my Branded opponents sent Rainbow 5, set a card, activate Rainbow 5 engrave. Would have lost the game if I didn't have Bestial. I think I had Druis Worm, banished it, and I actually won that game. Then I played 3 Anti-Spell. This card's probably the best floodgate in the game right now. If you make the full end board, it has 3 Omnis and an Apo, and then you have Anti-Spell, basically always going to win that game. It's super good, beats Dark Ruler no more, beats Rainbow 5 going, if they put it in going second, just makes a game super easy. Even if you brick, sometimes you can just survive on Anti-Spell. Obviously, if they out the Anti-Spell and they send it to grave, it can really hurt, but what kind of things out Anti-Spell for the most part? It's usually Cosmic, maybe a Fenrir, all stuff is going to banish, it's not going to hit the grave. For me, it never hit the grave, and whenever I do, it's crazy good, because of the way that you deck thin and then draw 2 at the end of your combo. There's a roughly 50% plus chance of having Anti-Spell, so it's just like an auto win going first. Super, super strong. The only card I would consider playing, but I really didn't like, was Eccentric. Pretty much all the builds I've seen play Eccentric, but the problem is, it's mainly for outing Floodgates, for outing Rainbow 5 Magician, and for outing Vanity's Fiend, if people are playing Vanity's Fiend for some reason, because this deck just doesn't have an out to Vanity's Fiend. The conclusion I came to is, any of the test hands where I was playing against Branded, they had Rainbow 5, I would go, okay, what if one of my bad cards in my hand was Eccentric, and I would activate Eccentric, they just train Branded in red, add back, make Chimera, pop the Eccentric. It didn't really matter against, if let's say people play Vanity's Fiend in Purely, one of their quick play spells can protect from destruction, so I just normal Eccentric, activate, they protect the Vanity's Fiend. I'm losing that game anyway. Really not a fan of Eccentric. And I think that's all I really have to say about the deck. I was super happy with how it performed. The only thing I would change is I probably wouldn't play Nib. I'd probably just play Kaijus maybe main deck. Really like Kaijus, super good against Rise Hard. And I did lose to a Rise Hard a lot. It is a very tough card to beat going second if you don't have enough hand traps. And I'd love to have a Kaiju in that position.
So that's a fairly serious profile. Not bad. Good deck. How did you feel about your performance with it? Will you bring it to a further event?
I was super happy with my performance. I think for the most part I played very, very well. My top 16 match, I think against Adam, I think maybe I made some misplays. I think I still played very well. You can always improve, you can always get better, but throughout the day I was super happy. Deck performed super well. And I'll definitely be bringing it to anything else I can go to. Hopefully go to maybe a regional in Dublin soon if there's one coming up. Hopefully we'll be bringing this deck.
Yeah, because over 9 rounds, it seemed to perform really consistently.
Yeah.
Were you okay with, like, did you see any really bad hands, any huge detriments over the course of your 9 rounds?
So for the most part, my hands were very good. I saw some absolutely terrible hands in my round 5 or 6. I think it was 6 in the 6th round. I saw some terrible hands against Kashtira, but that's always going to happen. You're always going to brick sometimes. I played them as well as I could, but I got 2-0'd, and like, it is what it is. But obviously I was still able to top even with that loss. I also played against Labyrinth, and I drew some kind of suboptimal hands, still playable, but they were disrupted by 1 or 2 disruptions. They didn't really do a lot, and it was against Labyrinth. That's a very tough matchup. If they have skill drain, there's not much I can do. Not playing really many outs to that card, just the 1 pank in the side. So I'm happy enough with how I did. The 2 losses make sense to me. There's not much I would change to decrease the chances of those losses happening. I think they're just naturally what's going to happen with a deck like this.
Okay, cool. So, last thing, any shout outs you want to give?
I'll just give a shout out to Robert for loaning me a Regulus. Shout out to Alan for loaning me a Sargass. Shout out to Declan for loaning me Bestials. Shout out to Dungeons and Donuts, best card shop in Galway. Community's great there.
Best card shop in Ireland, no? It is.
I just want to say the community there is great. I got into the game when I was about 15, and they got me, like, they helped me get better and better, and I couldn't have got to this point if there wasn't a community that supported that kind of thing. People coming in, you're not so great at the start. People tell you what cards you should play, what cards you shouldn't. They're very friendly. It's not the kind of thing where you're being put down for playing bad cards, and that's how you get somewhere here, when you really enjoy the game and the community's nice.
So that's it. Michael, thanks so much, and we'll see you on your next top, because you're just on a roll at this stage.